Hey everyone, it's MugenLord here, and I just want to talk about Microsoft and their acquisition with Bethesda Game Studios, and also the possibilities of them acquiring more studios. And just want to give you my predictions or what studios they could possibly have their eyes or their crosshairs set on. And I think this is a pretty good topic or a pretty important topic because no one saw that this acquisition was ever going to happen. If you told me today or tomorrow that Microsoft was going to buy Bethesda, I would say, nah, that's not happening. That's not happening at all. And I believe that a lot of us and a lot of you have pretty much probably thought the same thing. So after they made that announcement, it pretty much shook the internet. It caused a lot of fanboy wars when it comes to the consoles, and it was just a sight to behold and a sight to see all over the internet. Everyone had to cover it. It was so monumental to the point that Phil Spencer was also on the mainstream media, and they had to also interview him and ask him a few questions about this acquisition. And what he said was something that was quite interesting. He was saying that Microsoft pretty much wants to change their image, and they want to, focus more on the whole gaming side or gaming aspect with the Microsoft brand, and they figured that to move forward in order to show that they're serious, that buying Bethesda would be the right direction to go, and it also to make a statement that, hey, we're serious and we're going to be here for a very long time when it comes to gaming. And I just think this was a bold move on Microsoft part of all this, because we always been hearing, even from Microsoft fans, that Microsoft don't really have a lot of first party exclusives, that make you want to go out there and say, hey, I need to buy an Xbox. They've been lacking in that department. And then of course you have the Sony fanboys that always used to pretty much tease and clown Xbox fanboys about their lack of first party selection when it comes to their titles. And now that they bought a giant such as Bethesda, then they have a whole lineup of games. And I just think this is a really a good step in the right direction. And the simple fact is you'll be able to still play these games on the PC. Also, Microsoft is also planning to say, hey, these titles are also going to be available on Game Pass, which the Game Pass is pretty much dominating right now. And they're saying this is pretty much one of the best gaming, or the Netflix or gaming service that you can pretty much have right about now. And then of course they're looking forward in the future with the cloud gaming, so you'll be able to play this stuff on anywhere on any device, which I think is also pretty cool as well. So if you look at this article right here, I covered it in Mugen TV News as well, where it shows that Japan's pretty much had sold out of the Xbox Series X and Series S pre-orders, which is very monumental right here. If you guys don't know, Microsoft has never ever been able to penetrate the Japanese market. Japanese gamers or Japanese consumers in general just have no they have no energy, or they have no will to just go out and grab an Xbox at all. It was just hard. The sales were just horrible, and the fact that we can see the Xbox Series X and S sell out right about now, as far as the pre-orders is concerned in Japan, I just really think that's a good sign. The Japanese market was something that Microsoft has always been trying to penetrate, and they always try to lean and try to have a foothold in there, and they just couldn't do it. And I think that also has a lot to do with a lot of Japanese consumers more so associate themselves with Japanese products, I believe. So that's another thing that hurt them as well. And from what they talked about too, is the design of the Xbox wasn't appealing. Like the console itself doesn't look appealing to them as well. So I guess Japanese players or gamers themselves, they said that Series S is what most of them had bought, the all digital console. And it makes sense because in order to attract the Japanese market, especially today, they do a lot of mobile gaming, and everything is digital. Everything is pretty much preferred digital over there. So it makes sense for them to grab the Xbox Series S more so than the Xbox Series X, even though they're both sold out. But the Series S is something that speaks out to the Japanese market, and the fact is that it's also smaller, much sleeker, and designed for that appeal to the Japanese market as well. I think that's also responsible for it. And also the price range, I believe, is marked down $15 less or $70 less than what we're getting with the Xbox Series X here in the United States. And I believe the console also is going to release a day and a half earlier than the West. So I also think that was a good approach. And they've also marketed at Tokyo Game Show. If you guys haven't checked that out, Tokyo Game Show is running right about now, and it started back Wednesday, and it ends tomorrow. But they also showed off some of their partnerships as well, which they have Milan Wonderworld, Resident Evil 7, and also Samurai Showdown is coming to Xbox Series X, and many more other titles, which they also have a partnership with Sega, which bought the Phantasy Star Online 2 here, and also we're going to have Phantasy Star Online 2 Genesis coming here, new Genesis that's coming here as well, which I think is also a good sign, showing the good relationship that Microsoft and Sega has as well. So this console, I think the Xbox Series X, I think it's going to be one hell of a console. I'm stepping into the next generation. I've also pre-ordered the console myself. I have the Xbox Series X, and I can't wait to give that a try. Now, as far as acquisitions are concerned, because in the article right here, it says Microsoft is looking to buy, well, let's get the notifications off. We have the ad blocker, which sucks, by the way. Let me see. 5 companies owned by, all right, IGN. Yeah, so Microsoft will consider buying more game companies, okay, after Bethesda. So, like I said before, they're looking to buy more and acquire more companies. Now, there's a big rumor that was going around saying that Microsoft is looking to acquire Sega. Now, Microsoft had recently, about 2 days ago, pretty much debunked that idea, but it didn't say at the same time that they wouldn't do it, but it said not at this moment. So there's still a possibility that Microsoft could buy Sega, and I just want to entertain the idea of them buying Sega. To me, I think if they were to acquire a Japanese studio, Sega would be a good idea, because they really do have a strong relationship, especially in the past. If you guys don't know, they had a strong relationship when the Xbox first launched, the original Xbox, the very first Xbox. And a lot of people call the original Xbox the Dreamcast 2, because a lot of sequels to a lot of titles that Sega had in the works with Dreamcast all became exclusives to the Microsoft Xbox at the time. We had Jet Set Future, we had Shenmue 2, and we had a few other Sega titles that had released only exclusively on the Xbox. And they had this idea, and there was also talks that Sega was trying to convince Sega to actually make Dreamcast games playable on the original Xbox, but that talk didn't really didn't end up going through. But that was also in the talks as well. So Sega and Microsoft does have a strong relationship with one another, so I can definitely see them acquiring Sega, and that's also another way for them to penetrate the Japanese market. I think it'd actually be a good idea, because when Sega did go multi-plat, and when the Xbox did come out, my brother DX Strike, especially him, every Sonic game that released, he had always got it on the Xbox, and I don't know, Sonic felt right on the Xbox. It felt good, especially with the controller and everything, compared to the PlayStation controller. And it wasn't bad on Nintendo GameCube at the time either, but the Sonic felt really, really good. Sonic just feels right, and also Jet Set Radio just felt right on the Xbox platform and its ecosystem as well. So I'll be welcome for a buyout from Microsoft if Microsoft buy out Sega. I just think it will work, because they would not only have Sonic, they would have the Jet Set or Radio franchise, they would have Virtual Fighter, so they'll have a Japanese fighting game underneath their belt. They will also have Knights. They will have a bunch of Sega titles, and also Microsoft will be able to pump money into Sega for them to revive other titles. And not just that means Persona will be an exclusive, because not only buying Sega, they will be buying Atlas as well. So all the JRPGs that Atlas has will be under the Microsoft umbrella. I would think that would be another monumental move. And a lot of people is also saying that, hey, I mean, why? They don't think it would work, because Sammy owns Sega, and they don't see why Sammy would give up Sega to Microsoft, for the simple fact is Sega is making Sammy money and everything. But who knows? A lot of people didn't think that Microsoft will buy Bethesda, and look, here we are right now. So them having Sega under their belt, I think that would be a big win. And I think that would definitely work out in Microsoft's favor. And just the simple fact is now, I was laughing at my friend Nathaniel, aka Forrest Gardner. I was on Facebook and I was talking to a couple of my subscribers on Facebook as well, and he was pretty much saying, "Damn!" Like he's like, "Damn," because he's a big Fallout fan. He's a big Fallout fan and a big Skyrim fan. You know, Morrowind fan and an Elder Scroll fan or whatever. And he was like, "Damn, it's only on the Xbox," and because he pre-ordered the PS5, and I said to him, "Well, I guess you pre-ordered the wrong console, son." And that's what's going to happen. I believe a lot of players who invested in the PS5 may also consider getting the Xbox now, which I think is smart. Now, a lot of people are also saying that, you know, that Microsoft is probably going to still leave these franchises open to be on multi-platforms, but that doesn't make sense. Now, the only thing I can see happening is Microsoft allowing the current series or installments of these franchises to remain on multiple platforms. Like, even if they revived or like re-release like Fallout 4, they wouldn't make the re-release, like the special edition or a re-release. They wouldn't just make that an Xbox exclusive. They will put that on all platforms because it already been released on all platforms. So I don't see them, just locking it as, exclusive for the old titles. But every sequel moving forward, like a sequel to, Doom Eternal, a sequel to Elder Scrolls, a sequel to Fallout, all those games will be exclusive to Xbox, because that acquisition wouldn't make no sense for them to release this, for them to buy this company for $7.5 billion just for them to still release these games on all platforms. And they did say case by case, and I believe those case by cases will be the older titles rather than the newer titles moving forward. Like something as a franchise as big as Doom, Elder Scrolls, and also the Fallout franchise, it will be stupid for them to just still put that, releasing on all platforms. It just doesn't make sense. Then they could have just not acquired the studio at all. So best believe those will be exclusive when the newer titles of those series release, when it comes to that. Now, what could possibly be another studio that they pretty much could acquire? And some people have been talking about it, and I've been thinking about it myself. I believe that it could be a possibility that they could also buy Capcom. And I think Capcom would be another good choice for Microsoft to purchase. So they would have Street Fighter under their belt. They would have Captain Commando. They would have Resident Evil. They would have all those franchises, Devil May Cry, and all those Japanese developed franchises under their belt. I think Capcom would be a perfect choice. Mega Man, everything. And like I said, Microsoft is looking to pump money into these studios and into these teams. And Monster Hunter as well on Microsoft. So that'll be definitely a good way for them to penetrate that market. And maybe this could also allow them to revive fighting games like Darkstalkers or Power Stone or Plasma Sword and other fighting game titles that fans been waiting for. And maybe the Breath of Fire series for people who love their JRPGs from Capcom as well. I just think that'll be something that that would be pretty cool if Microsoft did decide to acquire Capcom. And Capcom is hurting financially. They're not really doing too good financially. That's why these DLCs, for Street Fighter 5, and it's just out of hand and everything. And I think that I don't think Capcom will put up much of a fight, and I think they'll probably be welcome to the acquisition because of how badly they're hurting financially. They're not really doing that great at all. Despite how good they're doing with Resident Evil and Monster Hunter and now Street Fighter, but still financially they still got a lot of work to do. And if Microsoft do try to pull them, I don't think Capcom would mind or whatever like that. So I just think that'll be pretty something. That'll be pretty epic or something to consider or to look into. So I can see them either getting Sega or Capcom as two major Japanese studios they can acquire to pretty much just get their way, just to sniffle their way in there into the Japanese market. But that pretty much wraps up this video. I just want to hear your thoughts. What do you think about Microsoft acquiring more studios? Do you think it's a cheap way for them to just buy out the competition? Do you think it's scummy? Do you think it's anti-consumer? To me, I think it makes the market much more competitive, and we have a competitive market. It helps. I think, to me, it benefits everyone, because now Sony really has to step their game up, and I think Sony is really at a panic, just a little bit, moving forward because of this hit and this major blow. So I believe next generation is going to be very interesting, and now everyone has their eyes on the Xbox. And like I said before, I was like, Microsoft with the 360 was my favorite console of that generation. I wasn't really that big into the Xbox, the original Xbox. I skipped out on the Xbox One, but the Xbox 360 was my favorite console. And I said in numerous videos that the Xbox Series X, I wanted to do well. I wanted it to do good. And that's why I took that leap of faith and pre-ordered it, the Xbox Series X, along with the pre-order that I made with the PS5. So definitely want to hear your thoughts. If you like the video, please share it, pass it around. Definitely want to hear your thoughts, and also hit that bell to be notified to hear more news related to Microsoft and the Xbox. This is MugenLord signing off. See you Game Fiends later. Peace out. It looks like you reached the end of the video. Well, while you're at it, check out some of my other discussion videos by clicking on the annotations below. And don't forget to follow me on other social media platforms to stay up to date with future content. Signing off.